More often than not, the unraveling of pasts and secrets that had been concealed have always been followed by confrontations at different levels, especially for celebrities whose lives are displayed through the world-class show glass of the media. The infamous Kim Kardashian West has built a strong impression that she's comfortable with her life being on display, but perhaps not her whole life. Thus, she's been extravagantly generous with personal and professional details of her life, but not forgetting to leave out certain stories and details. However, Kim found herself at the center of a controversy springing from her past, a new bout of past revelations. This forced her into a corner where she gave a response that shut everyone down. She had hoped that maybe, just maybe, this response would seal the deal. It would make the celebrity gossip mongers, tabloid vultures, and keyboard warriors recognize and respect the thin line that is often ignored. A line that separates her and other celebrities' privacy from what they are willing to share with the world. Kim Kardashian West stood on her terrace with a cup of coffee and briefly watched the rising sun. The sun cast a luminary warmth on her profile as she sipped her coffee. She was taking mental notes of her schedule and routine for the day. It was another regular morning in the Kardashian West household, situated at the center of the celebrity enclave of Hidden Hills, California. This affluent neighborhood hosted a peaceful, idyllic environment to call home. Unknown to Kim, this regular day was not so regular after all. The semblance of peace and calm the unfolding day held was nothing less than the peace before the storm. She dropped her coffee mug and sat on the terrace. She'd had enough of soaking in the morning warmth. She pulled out her phone to check her emails and social media for important notifications. Just about then, a conference call came from her publicist and manager. What could this be about? A call this early morning was a strong indicator of something unusual. She had gone over her manager's schedule before stepping out to the terrace. Everything was clear unless something unusual was up. She picked up the call and asked, "Joanne, Fletcher, is everything all right?" Her question was met with suspenseful silence before Fletcher spoke up, stammering, "Well, everything's not all right. There's been a bit of His stammering response built up suspense and annoyance within her. Before she could question him in annoyance, Joanne, her publicist, spoke up. "Just spill it out, Fletch. She's going to find out anyways. The sooner the better." Her manager cleared his throat and continued in a more composed tone. "You're all over the news and media, and not in a good way." Kim thought for a moment if there was any drama she had recently been involved in. However, she couldn't think of anything out of line. Drama was a usual thing in their world of glitz and glamour. Her publicist and the rest of her PR team had always been able to handle everything so well. Then what could have them so unsettled? Meanwhile, the kids were almost set for school. The nannies had been on that for about an hour already. "You may want to reconsider sending the kids off to school today," Joanne said. "Perhaps it'd be best if they stayed home," she added. Taking a deep breath and observing a moment of internal silence, Kim asked, "Joanne, Fletcher, tell me what happened. I want to hear everything." They went on to explain everything to her. Then they resolved to come over to her house later that morning with the rest of the PR team. Fletcher had advised that it would be better for her not to be seen at her office or anywhere public yet. She was just getting off the phone, a worried expression etched on her face, when Kanye rushed to the terrace. "How did this happen?" she thought to herself. Before he could ask her if she had seen or heard anything, the look on her face said it already. He held her hand to remind her she was not alone. She had not come so far by herself. They had come a long way as a couple, and no farther would they go without each other. Kanye moved in to offer her a comforting hug, and she buried her face in the crook of his neck, holding him firmly as though her life depended on it. It probably did. She never thought she would have to face this, not in a million years. She had outgrown her past and built a life, a family, and businesses away from it. Suddenly, it seemed like everything would come crashing down because of this new spill. Unable to hold back, she found herself sobbing and shaking with grief. She had no words, and tears seemed to be her only outlet for expression. Kanye softly said, "It's all right, babe. We're going to get through this." Amid tears, she said, "It's not all right. Nothing's all right. It's all over," almost choking on her words. Kanye was quiet for a moment, patting her back and allowing her to calm down. Then he spoke up again, this time about the kids. "I've asked the nannies and the driver to take the kids to the Kardashian compound." Her eyes shot open at the mention of her kids. Kim raised her head and said frantically, "They can't find out about this, not like this." She shook her head violently. Kanye was forced to hold her head to keep her still and from hurting herself. "Please, Kanye, I can't beat it," she said, still sobbing. What started for Kim as a warm, radiant morning in Hidden Hills was suddenly building into a frenzy that threatened to quake her entire life. Understanding what this meant for Kim, Kanye, her husband, also shared her agony. Despite the controversies, they had built their life this far amid many trials. However, this was different from everything they had ever handled. "I've spoken with Chris. She'll be home all day with the kids. She says Chloe would be coming by later with her daughter," Kanye said. "No TV, no internet, no radio, no media. They'll be fine and we will fix this. Before you know it, it'll all be over. Be strong, babe," he added. Kim nodded in positive affirmation. Hope started springing up within her. It was all Kanye. He gave her hope and reassurance that everything would be fine, and she believed him. Suddenly, her mental fortresses were energized, and fresh determination welled up within her. She had found a husband, friend, comfort, partner, and support in one man, not to mention a father to her beautiful children. She was certainly going to get through this, for him and their kids, for her family. This wasn't the end of the road, but just a challenging bend. A plan was set in motion after a series of calls to some of their friends, family, and celebrity contacts. The PR team arrived, and everyone settled in the Kardashian West household's living area. Kanye West addressed the team briefly, and the counter-battle began. The technocrats and hackers on the team had compiled all the video, audio, and photo evidence available online. Kanye was holding his wife's hand, promising to be there through it all. Kanye West had canceled all his appointments and meetings for the next 3 days to focus on his wife and family. That was his highest priority. The social media handlers on the team were already working on the fan pages, her social media accounts, and the media outlets carrying the news. Kanye and his wife painstakingly went through the video clips, audio, and pictures put together by technocrats in a bid to verify the authenticity and know how best to counter. The videos revealed a younger version of Kim, in her earliest teens, where she was intimately involved with other persons of the opposite gender. Some other videos captured her being at the receiving end of gender-based mistreatment and in very questionable scenes. The videos had been partially blurred due to the obscene graphics, however, her face was clear. The quality of the videos also revealed that they were recorded at the same time when she was a teen. Even while watching the clips many years after, the pain and the trauma were just as fresh for Kim. Her parents and siblings who knew all that happened at the time were also reliving the painful memories with her. When Kim was 13, she had a heated argument with her elder sister Courtney over something trivial. When her parents had intervened to smooth things out, Kim threw a fit because she thought they were siding with Courtney. This led to her angrily leaving the house for a walk. No one expected her to have gone far from the house. They all saw it as a tantrum she would get over after some time by herself. Kim herself had also confessed much later that she just wanted to be alone around the neighborhood. She had felt like her feelings were ignored and she wasn't getting enough attention. She never intended to run away from home like it appeared. What started as a trivial misunderstanding escalated into a heated family drama as Kim went missing. Several hours had passed and she had not returned home. Meanwhile, during her tantrum walk, Kim had run into a dangerous set of people. She had walked a long way from home, unknown to her. Faced with a group of persons in a vehicle that appeared harmless on the surface, she related her ploy to them. They took advantage of her state of vulnerability and lured her into their vehicle. They promised to take her home and talk with her parents and sister. Finally, feeling like she was heard, young Kim ignored all the initial danger signals she was getting from the strangers in the vehicle. A few minutes into the drive, she noted she was the only female in the vehicle. This made her uncomfortable. She thought of smart ways to exit the vehicle, but was outsmarted every time. That was when the dread began to creep in. In those moments, she wanted nothing more than to be at home, even if it meant Courtney yelling down at her or her parents scolding her. Unfortunately, she was too far from home, and it dawned on her that they were not taking her closer, but farther away from her home. Seized by panic, she tried to scream, but was sedated with a handkerchief and gagged. The kidnappers, who also happened to be pedophiles, later put a call across to her family for a ransom. It all happened within 24 hours, but those had been the most horrifying moments of her life. Threatened with their daughter's life, her parents put together the ransom without involving the police. After the exchange at an old dilapidated building, they returned home, and nothing was ever the same. After uncovering the extent of the damage, her parents were devastated. However, they refrained from filing a police report because of the threats of the kidnappers to anonymously release video clips of their underage daughter performing under the influence of an aphrodisiac. This had been a deep, buried secret of the Kardashians until that day when those clips from over 30 years ago were released on the internet. To sell the idea that she was a willing underage adult film participant. Many tabloid vultures had bought the idea and even sold it further by relating it to her love life. Blog posts and social media feeds were making all sorts of insinuations. Some of the comments captured said things like she had been a wild one from the start. Others said that her parents had failed woefully in raising her. Another even said that this explained why she had gone through so many lovers, that she was insatiable. Some other nasty comments even referred to her husband's capacity to bring that chapter to an end. She and her husband had been careful about protecting their young ones from these things. However, now that it was all out in the open, they had to fight to regain control. Reliving her teenage nightmare not only refreshed the pain, but also left her with a fresh zeal to bring her life under control again, to own the narrative, and to burn the skeletons that had once been buried. She found herself in a much better position than she had been all those years. She had the means and the resources to control the narrative. Her family was in a better position, and she had a supportive husband. It was all in her hands. Kim had instructed her manager to arrange a press conference that afternoon. She would address the rumors and circulating news that day. All the major paparazzi and news outlets would be there, along with some famous journalists and showbiz influencers. The counterplan Kim and her husband had put together, along with their family and close-knit friends, was gradually falling into place. Meanwhile, her cyber experts had traced the source of every one of the uploads. They deleted every available clip and photo on the internet. The hackers attacked the firewalls of the offenders, wiping out their data source. The cyber war was getting tough as the offenders were retaliating by reposting. However, Kim's team traced their locations and sent them to the security and legal experts on standby. Kim was receiving support from multiple quarters. Within a short time, they gained the upper hand in the cyber tug of war. The publicists and social media handlers were also on their job. From deleting numerous comments to changing the direction of the conversation online to reporting and banning certain blog sites and social media handles, they came on top of it. They also began to reintroduce new lines of thought to the whole drama, some of which portrayed the whole media frenzy as an attack on her marriage, kids, family, business brands, and collaborations. They surmised their work by directing media attention to her upcoming press conference. They had said that Kim Kardashian West would be making an official statement regarding the drama at the press conference. Her wardrobe assistant and makeup artist arrived to prepare her for the appearance. She was to look radiant and confident as ever, with no signs of tears or weakness. All the loose ends were neatly knitted, and the power couple set out together for the press conference. Kim Kardashian West and her husband were out to burn the skeletons that threatened to shake their beautiful family and progressive lives. The next phase of their counterplan was in motion. Surrounded by flashing cameras and shouting reporters, Kim and Kanye walked hand in hand into the crowded press conference room. Her publicists, managers, and personal guards took their different positions. Due to the fact that she influenced the younger generation, there was a need to clear the air about the speculations, so as not to leave a suggestion that it was okay for underage folks to engage in activities like that. Many thought her presence at the exclusive press session was because she was invited to clear the air for the aforementioned reasons. Little did they know she had pulled the strings to get the audience's attention. They had barely taken their seats when the room erupted into a flurry of questions. The microphone was turned on, and the obvious setting sound echoed throughout the room to silence the noise. Just when the room was settling into a composed silence, a bold reporter shouted at the top of his voice, "Kim, was that the true business that got your family so much wealth?" The room became chaotic with noise again. Others asked if they would see videos of other Kardashians like that. Kanye tightened his grip on her hand, reminding her she was not alone. She stared at him confidently from the hope he had given her, and smiled calmly. "We will be all right," she said. The conference room became quiet again, as many tried to listen to the couple's conversation. Looking around at the faces of the reporters, journalists, paparazzi, and all who were present, a bold smile spread across her face. The lead host at the center of the press was a middle-aged man with a renowned reputation in showbiz news and interviews. With a stern expression, he leaned slightly to face Kim Kardashian and her husband, as he asked the question everyone had been waiting for. Kim, there have been rumors sponsored by some graphic release circulating about your past. What is your official comment on the allegations that you were once involved in underage adult films? She didn't flinch as he dropped the bombshell right before her face. She had prepared for this. Rather, her eyes scanned the room again, and then taking a deep breath, she began to speak in a low, steady tone. For your question, Mr. Bryan, which I believe mirrors the questions of many here today, the answer is no, she stated bluntly, as the room began to buzz with whispers and side talks. Staring round again, she added, I know you all want answers to the many suggestive questions you have, and you want explanations. You all want to know more about me and my family. In response to that, the press room was eerily silent at this point. The sound of a pin dropping would be too loud at that point. The murmurs, side comments, and even the camera clicks had taken a long pause. She locked eyes with the host and continued, In response to that, I want to make it clear to you all today that you're not entitled to know everything about me. I'm not a public commodity, but a public figure, and reserve the right to my privacy. She paused. The same also applies to my family, she added, turning to her husband and the people who had come with her. The silence in the room at this point was so loud it could be heard from miles away. All eyes were fixed on Kim Kardashian West and her husband beside her. It doesn't stop with me. This also applies to all the other celebrities whose private lives you like to pry into. All to make news and draw traffic. Although public figures, we're not commodities, I repeat. She said the last bit with so much firmness and authority. While we share some of our lives' details on the media, we would appreciate it if you all could draw the line when it comes to prying into the things we're not open to sharing. She paused for a moment, but everyone could tell she wasn't done speaking. I have built a life, family, business, and a brand that I am damn proud of. And I have thrived at this regardless of the constant scrutiny, criticisms, and attempts to tear me down. She was almost on the verge of tears as her words dripped with so much emotion. Kanye reassured her by rubbing his thumb over her hand. So, I'll end with this. I'm not going to apologize for my past, nor explain the tragedies and traumas I do not wish to. I'm not going to justify my choices, and I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of tearing me down. The host leaned back into his chair without a word, and the reporters who were planning on taking turns questioning her looked at each other, unsure of their next action. With a fierce glimpse in her eyes, she spat, I'm done here, and rose to her feet. With that, she left the press room behind cameras and some reporters too stunned to follow. Her publicist had live-streamed the press on all her social media handles to prevent alterations or manipulations of video clips. The press was not even over before the media was flooded with comments and hashtags. She had just sparked a firestorm, but was in control of the narrative. Many celebrities released supportive comments, backing up her speech and cheering her. As Kim walked out of the press conference room, her husband wrapped an arm around her waist, guiding her to the waiting car. She felt a sense of liberation wash over her as she left the critics behind her. She had faced the scrutiny and criticism head-on and came out on top. She had taken control of the narrative and had refused to let the media dictate her story. Her supportive team, who stood by her and helped to combat the menace, walked by. She felt a sense of gratitude for their due diligence. She knew she had a team of people who believed in her and had her back. What are your thoughts on how Kim Kardashian West responded to the controversial drama? Do you think she controlled her narrative well? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this video was inspiring, like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Also, turn on the notification bell to receive notifications about new posts. Before you go, watch the other videos displayed on your screen. See you next time.